So when we're in a chronic state of stress, anxiety, depression, panic, really that whole rainbow spectrum of mental health disturbances, which we all experience from time to time, there become, or rather we shift in how we breathe and how our breathing functions and operates, how our lungs function and operate, and how physiologically our breath moves in and out the body. And so totally normal and natural for this to happen when we are in a state of chronic fight, flight, collapse. Of course, shifts happen physiologically through the whole body. And when they become stuck in this way, when our breathing becomes restricted and stuck in this way, it can actually really contribute to this chronic factor, because then we are stuck in this breath holding pattern that doesn't allow for us to actually shift back into a regulated space. So in your process of shifting in and out of these different nervous system states, it becomes really, really powerful and really, really important to learn to work with our breath and breathing. Now, you might already be familiar with the fact that when you're stressed out, your breath becomes shallow. It becomes more rapid. Just think of the last time someone snuck up on you and surprised you and brought you into that state of like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were there. And what happens with your breath? You take a big gasp in, usually through the mouth, upper lungs, right? But the same thing is happening on a more subtle, less obvious level with your breathing patterns each and every day. Isn't that right, Kona? Just walking around meowing. You might get a little surprise cat visit in this video. And so the same thing's happening with our breath and breathing each and every day, especially when we're in these held, stuck breathing spaces. So what does that mean? That means that our breath becomes really shallow up in the lungs, upper lungs, and we breathe more with our scalenes and upper chest muscles, less with our diaphragm and belly. Breathe in and out of the mouth, which can acidify the whole body, and we become less able to actually take a deep breath, so that even when you're guided, or your friend sees you're stressed out and says to you, take a deep breath, even when that happens, we're doing it up here and not actually down here. And so sometimes even that process of deep breathing is actually contributing to this stuck breathing pattern. So what do we do? Well, first of all, we really need to check in with our own bodies and how we're breathing. There's this process called reverse breathing that I find in a lot of my clients and students who have a lot of this chronic held, stuck breathing pattern, which means that rather than inhaling and letting, if you have your hand on your belly and your heart, letting your hands move out on the inhale as your lungs fill with air, of course the torso expands, the tube of the body expands in all directions. And as you exhale, it gently contracts and moves back in, this beautiful pulsation of breathing. What happens with reverse breathing is the exact opposite. So when you inhale, this individual, maybe you, it definitely used to be me, sucks the belly in, forcing the breath up into the chest, right? So this is a stuck diaphragm, no room, no space for actually the breath to reach the deeper lobes of the lungs, which are where your parasympathetic nerve endings are to tell you that you're safe, you're cool to be calm, and so on. So first things first is that we have to recorrect this process of reverse breathing, which means making sure that the tube of your body is moving outward on every inhale and moving inward on every exhale. Definitely doing this practice can cause really, really big shifts in breath and breathing. Now, second piece here is we want to really be sure that we're breathing in and out of the nose rather than in and out of the mouth. Lots of reasons for this. mainly has to do, again, with stimulating parasympathetic nerve endings, and also there are a bunch of hairs inside of your nose that help filter out the air. It's just you're meant to be breathing in and out of your nose. It can also really contribute to the nitric oxide level in your body, which we can talk more about another time. So be sure that you're not reverse breathing, so tube out and in. Second, breathing in and out of the nose. Now, third, this one might come as a bit of a surprise to you, but I want you to think about how you breathe when you're in a state of deep relaxation. And more specifically, let's think of how you breathe when you're sleeping, or if you're a meditator, when you're in a very deep state of meditation, or when you're doing restorative yoga or yoga nidra. What happens to your breath? Well, a couple things. If you've accessed the parasympathetic nervous system, it becomes smaller, it becomes deep, pretty much just in the belly, and it becomes really soft and really quiet. And this is different from how most people imagine or think of the parasympathetic breathing response, right? We're always told to breathe really deeply, which we should be doing, but when we're told to breathe deeply, what we actually end up doing is breathe really loudly. Similarly to when you're very stressed out. So, by creating a quiet, calm, soft breath that's barely perceptible, can help to shift your nervous system state. If you're in a state of chronic stress and you even try right now to breathe really softly, sweetly, calmly, so you can barely hear it, maybe barely feel it, it probably brings up a little bit more of a panicky feeling. If that's the case for you, what we know is that first we need to help support your body in reaching, here's the little kitten, reaching a parasympathetic nervous system state before we come in and focus on this breathing, this soft, slow, gentle breathing. We do that through body yantra. We do that through yoga nidra. We do that through orientation and other nervous system practices. Once that's established, then we come in and bring this support in for the breath. Hope this video is helpful for you when thinking about how to restore balance to your breath body. If you have comments, questions, experiences, leave them below. I love hearing from you all, and I will be back soon for another video on how to gain more full-bodied health for your entire bodily organism. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon. Namaste.